we're back. Back in the shop. We just got off that huge win at King of Abilene last weekend, and that was nice. I gotta give a shout out to the wife on that one. I wanted to pack in and go home on Friday. We felt so outgunned, and I was so defeated after, you know, winning but losing because we didn't break the beam for the finish line. I mean, that stuff just sucks. So she really gave me the push I needed to stay for the rest of the weekend, and, you know, gave me the okay for staying for Sunday, because a lot of people weren't able to stay for Sunday at that race. So the car count was lower because of it. So we are back in the shop, you know, won on Sunday, sold heavily on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week, kind of like the old NASCAR saying, win on Sunday, sell on Monday. And it is now Friday. It's getting dark. Looks like fog outside. There's wildfires close to my house. And I'm gonna check back in with Megan here in a little bit. She just told me about 5 minutes ago about that. And hopefully nothing happens there. And I'm at the shop. We're running out of time to kind of get stuff done. But yeah, all this haze, this isn't fog. This is, smells like fire. So we're almost out of time, because this weekend, I got to test. I got to test something. So we got the CAS is back on the car. Was able to work on that today. Got that back on the car. We are not using it exactly how CAS wants us to use it. So we're not going to use their controller for the electric flow regulator, the EFR little throttle body. We're not going to use that. We're going to bypass that. We're going to run off just the dome control strategy with the twin solenoids and just see how that responds first. And if I need a little more trim on the control, then we'll use the CAS BCU. So they're a little control box that controls that solenoid. So some of the wiring is a little temporary for right now, but it's good enough to put it on the dyno, to try it out, just to kind of get our feet wet. That's really the biggest thing, is I want to get my feet wet. I want to try methanol, see how it runs. That way we don't have to worry about a cooling system on the car for a while. And let's just see if the air gets cold enough to put the fire out on methanol. So far, this system has not been ran with methanol. And although we don't have to use methanol, since the air will be so cool, we can use E85, we can use pump E85, barrel E85, race gas, lots of options. I want to see what it does on methanol first, and if methanol doesn't work, I'll try an alternative fuel. If methanol does work, to keep it simple for right now, we're just going to stick with methanol. So everything's already set up for methanol. We'll just run it for right now. And I do plan on experimenting with, you know, Renegade's E112, which is super high octane ethanol, and seeing how fast cylinder head temperature comes up, block temperature comes up, things like that. So we got a lot of good information there. And in a fully sequential EFI system, how much cooling do you really get from methanol as a fuel? I don't know if it's that much. Not nearly as much as a, you know, batch EFI injected, you know, blower deal. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So anyways, our plan right now, I feel bad. I feel really, really bad. I've been telling Tyler this, is I am not that far away from residential in the shop here. And it is going to be loud because it's going to be on Zoomies. And I do like to be really respectful for my neighbors and not dyno when it gets late, when people get home and kids try and go to bed and stuff like that. So I feel conflicted doing this, but I've got to work tomorrow. I got to go to a track for customer support tomorrow, and then hopefully enter into a bracket race with this thing on Sunday, just to shake it down, get some passes, try some control strategy, and see how that goes. If I can even get that far. We may just have to go hit the street or something to make some passes, but we have no tracks close to us open during the week. And so the weekend's the only time we're going to get. And next week, I got to start getting the LS together, because it's the weekend before the Cletus race, and I've got to run the LS for the Cletus race. I mean, Texas Speed really helped us out with getting that motor done timely, and now I've been waiting on the heads from Mueller. Our Broadix BR7 heads, we sent to Mueller, and anything that could be wrong with them has been wrong. So pretty much the only thing that was right is they were aluminum. That's like the only thing that was right on the whole heads. So confidently we found, and those are the heads from the 388 disaster. And confidently those heads will run as they should, and they're going to be an excellent complement to our Texas Speed 427 aluminum short block. And I have a feeling that that motor will make more power NA than the big block, because the big block doesn't really make over 450. I don't think it's ever cracked 5. We'll find out. So we're gonna put on the dyno, we'll get a baseline, we'll see what the motor makes NA, and then we're gonna crack open the system. Well, actually, I'm not gonna crack it. We're gonna open the system up, and we're gonna run it on what we're gonna call gate. So we're not gonna have any dome added to the regulator, and we're gonna have a baseline number for the CFM delivery on one stage with no dome. See what we make on power and manifold pressure. And that is basically going to be, if we open this up on the trans brake, that's going to be basically our launch boost. If the system reacts fast enough, my plan is to not use it on the brake at all, since staging can be inconsistent for what we do. I don't want to use up too much air on the brake and run out for the track. And I mean, that's going to be a learning curve. That's going to be, you know, is that even an issue? Is that something to be worried about? You know, can I get set out for 7 seconds on the tree and still be able to make, you know, like a really, really fast pass? Like, I mean, the turbos went 437, so the goal is to go 2/10 faster than that with the system. So let's learn together, I guess. Hopefully not piss off anybody, and see what happens.
You got a guess?
Do I have a guess?
On what PSI?
Well, I hope on one line, that's supposed to be about 1,500 horsepower worth of air. So to the tire, let's say we get 1,250, 1,300 on one line, one solenoid. And I expect that to be 12, 13 pounds of manifold pressure.
I was thinking 16.
16 was my first number, but Mark runs 16 on his car, and it goes 171. So he's got to be making about somewhere between 1,900 to 2,100 of the tire. Okay. So based on what I would see on my dyno, because that's what we make with the 121. That's what we made with turbo. Actually, we made more than that with turbo. But when we made that much with turbo, it would go about 170. So, and I think the system full out, which we're not going to do on the dyno, because it's going to be, if it's making the power it should make, full out, this thing should be comparable. It should be over the 121 and comparable to the 136. And the 136, I estimate, was making 26 to 27. And you know, if this thing will make 24, 2,500 wheel, I mean, that's good. That's fantastic. But I have a feeling with taking the parasitic loss off, not having 485 degree intake air temps, I think that we're going to see something better. So, okay, well, let's get on the dyno. We're going to be loud. I'm going to piss some neighbors off, and hopefully it's not too bad. And we even discussed closing the door down, doing the pull with the door down, and then open the door, all my gas mask on. Hopefully I don't die from that. So, all right, in the car we go. Oh God, it hurts. It hurts so bad. Okay, I'm gonna get it strapped down real quick. But this is the system as of right now. We got our air filter. We got, I don't know why I'm yelling, I don't have to yell. We got our ejector. We got lines. We got our tube to the intake. I know it's not pretty. Deal with it. Now I did throw the system in here today like in 2 hours. So we got our tanks. We got our fill hose that goes to the back of the car. We got our regulator. Got a lot of stuff going on here. And then our lock-off valves. Think of those like nitrous solenoids, 1, 2. Controller, we're not using. Box that controls controller, not using. Lines, intake. So, once we activate this bad boy, air comes through here, it's very loud. Sounds like a sonic boom, it hits so hard. and then that's going to close off. And then we're going to make manifold pressure, then we're going to make some horsepower. So that's the plan. That's what we're going to try to do. And just like before we went out last weekend, if this system makes 1,500 horsepower, then I'm confident enough I can do whatever I want with it. You know, if it does it without much issue, good to go. And I got all the faith in the world it's going to do it. So I only got a couple things I'm not sure of right now, and that's how fast these lockout solenoids activate. But we'll see. Try it out and see what happens. So, all right, be right back. No door. All right. Hopefully my microphone can hear me in here. I'm gonna do a, I gotta warm it up some more.
You talking about this door?
Yeah, close the big one.
Okay.
So we're gonna close our dyno door and try to make it not as loud for the neighbors. So I'm gonna get it warm, and then once it looks good there, I'm gonna do a pull on boost only, or I'm sorry, not on naturally aspirated. God. So let's do zero our boost command out. All right, that looks good. Okay. All right, that should be good. So we'll get a baseline on motor for today, and we'll go from there. Oh God, it only made 242 horsepower. That pull sounded pretty good. Alright, that was 566 horsepower, 506 torque. Peak horsepower at 6,000 RPM. Fell off pretty hard after 6,300. So I'm going to check out the log and see if there's anything in there I can do to help clean that up.
Not bad.
No, that's not bad. Is it loud?
What's that?
Is it loud?
With the door closed, not really.
Okay.
It wasn't bad.
Okay.
It was loud, but it wasn't bad.
Cool.
You ready?
Ready for what? To try it? Let me look at the log and see if I gotta clean that up one more time. It was real fat.
It was real what?
Real fat.
Really? It pulled. It sounded like it pulled pretty good.
That one was good. I gotta see what it looks like though. It laid over pretty hard. Oh, it went lean up top. Yeah, it lost power because it went lean. Okay, alright, let me fix that. Okay, let's make one more NA pull. Temperatures don't look bad, so let's do one more NA pull. And I'll let it cool down, and then we'll charge the system and we'll make a wreck. So.
Okay, so we're pretty close to ready. We're going to open one valve, one solenoid. We made 71 horsepower on motor. We could probably inch a little higher if we really tried, but that's okay for right now. We don't even know if we're going to be on this fuel, so no reason to push it real hard right now. Okay, so I'm going to set it to where my stage 2 doesn't come on until 10 pounds of target dome. Stage 1's going to come on pretty much at any target dome. And then it has to be over 90% throttle. Okay, so yeah. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Okay. All right. I think we're ready. Take my glasses back off. Here we go.
It's like we shut off the outside air, but we didn't get any boost. I'll see what the log says. I'll see what the log says.
The log's gonna tell us the most.
Oh yeah. I forget it takes so long for yours to come through.
Yeah, it's a huge file.
I feel like we're going scuba diving.
I know, right? Chris Grafton's here.
Yeah.
So, all right.
What is this? How many PSI does it take to pop that off?
200.
I bet you that's scary when that happens.
It's scary when the system purges itself.
Think that's it?
When it first starts, yeah. I guess they call it the sonic boom, and it's, if you're not paying attention, it sucks.
Is that loud?
Yeah, it's like a gunshot.
It makes you feel like you're exploding your car when you do that. Asshole. I didn't know what's going. What's it do? Just flutter out through the air filter?
Here, I'll explain.
I know how the filter works, but
So when the system is below,
Don't know, maybe it just went a little lean on the enrichment or what, but we'll try again. Okay, so here's what I think is going on.
Okay.
On the dyno pull, the system 100% comes on.
Okay.
It's flowing something. Because we can see this pink line here, this is air fuel. It goes really lean. It maxes out as closed loop corrections. It loses manifold pressure, so it actually goes into vacuum, which is why it loses all the horsepower. So that's why it falls down to like 250.
Do you think this is the sonic boom part, and then it just...
Right, and you can see the IATs instantly change. So I mean, it's like a light switch. They're like 70. Hold on, which one is this? Oh no, bad. That's not IAT. Okay, hold on a second. That wasn't right. I think that we're not flowing enough air. We're flowing just enough air right now to pretty much make ambient pressure on the brake.
Okay.
So
What's the solution is add more to that dome?
add more to that dome. So I think we need to get after the dome pressure.
So that was at 1, so just 5 times that. Move it to 5?
So the max is 60. So let's do half of max.
Okay.
I mean, we're only on one bottle.
Alright.
So let's do half of max. Let's do that. And then I'll make sure stage 2 is off. But I mean, we literally just may not flow enough air.
Yeah, to even, honestly, you have to maintain a certain amount to keep that valve even open, right?
Right. Yeah, well, you had to close it off.
Or, yeah, I mean, to close it.
Can you see it closing?
No. I couldn't see it move on those.
Okay. And it's so small, it may be hard to see. Because it shows it's activated. Yeah, let's just put some dome to it.
Okay.
The problem is it's pretty warm, so I really need to take a break.
Yeah.
So-
just hold off for a minute.
All right, so we're gonna take a break. And I mean, we're flowing air. I'm watching the pressure go down that bottle. So like on the brake, or I'm sorry, during that pull, I was on it for about 3 seconds and we lost 600 pounds of bottle pressure on one bottle. Gotta put in some practical use here. So, all right, shut this off. I'm gonna top the bottle off and let the motor cool down and go from there, okay? Okay, well, I talked to David Pierce. He reached out because he was trying to inform me about some testing this weekend. And he told me that we're just not trying to flow enough out of the system at all. Not for the big block. So he said, open up both lock-off valves and try giving no dome. I'm gonna try one valve still, 30 PSI dome. We'll try that first. And then we'll be cool enough that I can then change it up and do something else. So I kind of want to max out one line first and go from there. So that's what I want to do. I want to see what it'll run on half system. So one bottle on, one max valve on, or one lock off on, see what it does. So let me try it.
got both lock-offs with like 3 pounds of dome pressure. We'll just try a trans brake first. I forgot to put dome pressure on it for the brake. It hit that time. It hit that time. It's on fire. It flowed that time. It made 23 pounds of boost. Oh my. At 3,000 RPM. Oh my. Okay. Okay, so system activated for sure.
Let's get some shit going on over here. Okay. My mic's on. Mic's on. All right, so floored it, and then after 4/10 of a second, the system was coming on around 2/10 of a second, and by 4/10 is full in, made 23 pounds, and settled around 21. So yeah, she's working now. So I guess let's try. I guess let's try a dyno pull. Something.
Dude, it takes way too long to close that valve. What's that? 1355. Hell yeah. 1355. That's like 7 degrees of ProCharger.
Okay, so that was 10 pounds of dome pressure, both lock-off valves on. Made about 12.5 pounds. 1350 wheel horsepower, shutting it down at 6,300. So power was still going, still climbing. I'm going to kind of charge everything up and then maybe call it right here. We'll see here a little bit. All right, might be my last pull. I'm gonna ramp in dome pressure with RPM, kind of make this thing pull like the ProCharger does, and see what that does on the power curve. Okay, so I ramped dome pressure in to try to bring in more volume with RPM, and it brought dome pressure up, but manifold pressure was decreasing. So I need to let it cool down and then figure out how much more we got to open the valve up to get to keep climbing. Now the power right now is so flat. This thing comes in and it makes like 1,400 horse, maybe like 1,425 at peak RP or at peak horsepower, and then maintains 1,400 almost all the way to I lift it like 7. So it's like 1,390 right there. So it's an extremely flat, predictable power curve. We just got to play with it some. And I mean, we're still pulling timing out too. Really just gonna take some licks to kind of figure it out. But I mean, it's making power, it's working, and it's coming on quicker and quicker. So I think as we like kind of move the valves and kind of work the system in, I mean, it's trying to come alive pretty good. So more testing needed. So all right, mic check. All right, one more pull, hopefully before this thing dies. I'm gonna get really aggressive on the dome control to see how it's gonna work. So, and I'll kind of do a recap. Okay, so recap. I added more dome with RPM, and we got the manifold pressure start going up, and 18 pounds of boost with only 22 degrees of timing made 1730, and that is, I mean, that's the lowest manifold pressure I've ever had to run to make that kind of power. I don't think I've ever been in the teens trying to climb over 1,500 horsepower. I gotta go back and look at my turbo stuff, look at my turbo videos, see where I was at for sure. But it's the system's working. It's kicking some butt. Like I said, I did not use CAS's throttle body controller. I wanted to try to do it just dome control, and I'm starting to get a hang on it. With the Holley, I really probably need to populate the mat versus dome versus manifold pressure table. I never used it with the turbo application just because it takes a lot of runs, but I do think a system like this, it is worth doing it with. And then I really am pretty confident that we can control the manifold pressure really easy with doing that. So Tyler just pulled out a spark plug on one of our hotter holes. Let's see what it looks like. So it's kind of hard to see, but it didn't show any fuel burn at all, which this is 7/10 leaner on the methanol target than where I normally would be with the blower at this power level. I'm not gonna say boost level because it didn't really correspond. The timing's starting to burn back a little bit, but I also think they're really under-timed. So, and usually when I'm under-timed by a good chunk, it'll show a little hotter on the plug. So, yeah, I mean, everything's looking good. Everything's working pretty good. The system's starting to work better and better. All right. Oop, nice reel. It's Tyler leaving. Okay, let's finish this up. I got a battery in the GoPro so I can kind of do a recap here. So intake air temps. On the dyno, we saw 76 degrees going up to speed. And then during that second half pull, they were down to 52. So IAT is definitely going down. We do have more flow to go on the regulator, it looks like, with more dome control. I don't know where to set dome to get desired flow just yet. And since we're not using CAS's controller, and they're probably gonna be mad at me for not using this, because it probably, I mean, it would make this all a lot more linear to work with, but really, I don't like talking to two different boxes. So I just want to have like one whole tune-up in my laptop for the Holley and do it that way. That's just personal preference, what I like to do. Same reason why I don't use like a Davis or anything like that. I like to have it all on the Holley. So the system's showing promise. Definitely showing promise. Mark's car, big block Chevy car, a lot very similar to my car. On the same type of manifold pressure we just hit, he is 10 degrees higher. So when we had the blower on, when we went from about this power level to 2100, every degree of timing was 50, 70 horsepower. I don't know if this is going to be the exact same, but very well could be. Very cool. I mean, even the turbo application responded like that. So it's a big difference. So I'm pretty excited. I got to work a little bit more on just kind of learning the control side. And of course, my brain's going 100 miles an hour right now, trying to figure out how I want to control it and different modifiers I want to use. And I got a pretty good idea. So I think that the trickiest part right now is figuring out the low side of the system. The way I'm going to try to do it, just trying to have the ability on manifold pressure not to really overshoot and try to make like 1,200-1,300 horsepower. I got to play with it a little bit more. Play with the dome control a little bit more. I'll probably end up getting the CAS controller on there and working. It just may not be right this second. So, yeah, overall, it works. It works. It's based on our consumption. I'm gonna do some math, and yeah, I mean, I think we got more than enough volume to run an 1/8 mile, as long as we're not consuming too much air on the brake. So earlier I did a trans brake test, had about 2 psi of manifold pressure, and based on fuel consumption, it was making some pretty good power. I mean, it was similar to where the ProCharger is at on like 7 pounds right there. And yeah, once you leave, I mean, we can bring it in however fast we want to. So yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty cool. So Hope to test it here in a couple days, depending on weather and getting back out. So I got a bracket race I think we can go do here on Sunday. So today's Friday. And try to make some licks in it, see what it does. So that's my hope. That's my plan. I'll probably come back up here tomorrow and mess with, well, I got a lot of stuff to do. I got to get the whole cascade system in the trailer safely. I really want to try the trans brake out a couple times. So I like to try to do some releases in the parking lot here and just see how it does, you know, see how well we can go from on brake, making some manifold pressure to wow. So that's what I'm curious to see. Okay, well, that's it for tonight. So hopefully there's enough kind of a teaser information or whatever, but I'll talk more about it as we get more experience with it and go from there. But I mean, right now, I mean, yes, it'll make the power we need. And it's definitely neat. It's definitely cool. So curious to really play with it and optimize it. So I think there's definitely a lot of potential on the table there. So, all right, that's it. I'm out.